Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. We are here and we are live, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of the Darion Hopkins Show. And I'm your host, Darion of the Darion Hopkins Show. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So hopefully Instagram, they'll have that integration so we can go live on Instagram as well, but we don't have that integration right now. So Instagram, get it together. Facebook and everybody else got it. Instagram, get it together. But we here for another episode, and Mac is finally on time, y'all. He's finally on time. Good afternoon to you, brother. What's going on?
What's up, man? Just fucking calling in from Epoxy Depot in Hanover, Maryland.
You stay on the move, man. You stay on the move, but all right, like your signal is not working, and you're like glitching in and out, bro.
Oh, I'm backing it up.
Oh, don't wait, Terry. I'm definitely going to make that announcement. But I'm gonna let it be known real quick before we get into all the sponsors and everything else that we go into. So I'm gonna pull this to the side a little bit and talk about this. Shout out to Terry. I don't know if y'all saw the Instagram reel or the YouTube video, but shout out to Terry. Only reason why I'm wearing it because I know the Heat lost, but I was supposed to wear this during Game 5, and she actually got me and sent me a Shaquille O'Neal Miami Heat jersey. So she said that somebody gave it to her, that Shaq actually wore it. I don't know how true that is, Terry, but hey, listen, I believe you in some sorts, and I'm going to rock it today. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to rock it today, knowing that the Nuggets won the championship. We talked about it, but it's a throwback jersey, and I'm going to put it with the rest of my collection. So thank you, Terry, for getting me the jersey. It's awesome. It's comfortable. It's dope. Now, I'm officially a part of Heat culture now. Yeah. I'm officially a part of it. So I don't got no. I threw all my Sixers shit out. So yeah, but I'm not excited to throw all of it out. My father, got hats and stuff that he wears now. So it is big. It is really big. It's really like I could do this. So like it's pretty big. It's not snug at all.
It's feeling like a throwback jersey.
Yeah, it's for like a true throwback jersey, like back in the early 2000s. It definitely feels like that. But shout out to SeatGeek before we get into the show. Shout out to SeatGeek and SeatGeek. If you want to go to any NBA games, NFL games, all the sporting events that's going to be coming up real soon, or sporting events right now, live concerts, music concerts, anything of that nature, make sure you go to SeatGeek.com and use that promo code DHopkins to get $20 off your first purchase. And shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody that's actually in the chat. Terry, RC, everybody that's watching on other platforms. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Darion Hopkins Show. But we got some okay topics today. But what I want to start with? NFL? Do I want to start with NBA? Do I want to start with But I think, no, what? I'm gonna start with this, and I'm gonna start with it. Congratulations to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. You are the Stanley Cup champions, ladies and gentlemen. And I know Max saw my post last night. I know he saw my post last night.
I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna just throw this. I'm gonna just knock this out right now before we get into any NBA talk. The WNBA Las Vegas Aces won a championship last year. The Las Vegas Golden Knights won their first Stanley Cup title in the first 6 years of them being in Las Vegas, or being a franchise at that. Mark Davis owns one of those teams, and that is the Las Vegas Aces. So Mark Davis, I'm calling out the Las Vegas Raiders. I am calling out the ownership. I am calling out the organization. I am calling out the coaches. I am calling out the players. I am calling out every single every single person that's in that building for the Las Vegas Raiders. If this does not motivate you to at least try to win this year, I don't know what we're playing for. I'm being completely 100% honest here, because there's only 3 teams in the city of Las Vegas. That's the Raiders, Aces, Golden Knights. And now it's going to look like the A's is going to come here. And you know what? The A's might do a whole damn 360. I know they look bad right now because they're in the city of Oakland, but they might do a whole 360 coming to Las Vegas. But if any of those teams keep on winning on a consistent basis, and the Raiders are looking down and looking up, going down and looking up, something got to change from ownership. I don't know if you got to give it to a son.
I agree with you there. The Oakland A's.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the Oakland A's. It's that organization, the same thing. Like, unless they change owners, they're gonna continue. Like, we remember the movie Moneyball. Okay, that's just how some owners see it. Like, no, this is how much you have to spend. I'm not gonna spend any more than I have to on a team, regardless. And it's sad, but again, unless somebody else buys the A's when they come to Oakland, when they come to Las Vegas, it's gonna be the same thing. You're going to have a team that doesn't spend over 30, $40 million, $60 million for their entire team. It's like, it's a shame, but there's teams just like the Orioles. Orioles have been one of them teams for a long time. That's why they really haven't won anything in the last 3 decades. It's just like, at some point you have to put your money where your mouth is. And, these guys don't talk, so they don't have to put anything up, And yeah, I would like to see a little bit of the ownership change and the regime change for the Oakland A's, and the same thing for the Raiders. It's just like, as much as everybody loves the Davis family. I do. I think his son needs to just cut his fucking hair and get his act together, or sell the fuck. Like, I'm sorry. To be honest with you, my association with the Raiders is literally like it's just horrible. Pretty much just as bad as the owner's haircut. Like, bro, change your haircut and maybe your team can do a little bit better. But to be honest, it's all about coaching. Putting the right coach in that system, in the team, and rebuilding the whole mantra of the team. And I'll be honest with you. McDaniels, I don't have too much faith in him. I don't, because again, look at all the other stops that he's made in the NFL. Did any of those make you confident in him to be a head coach?
And
Not really.
I said that. I said that with Josh McDaniels. I said that, even though he had his one stint in Denver as a head coach, and he didn't have a winning record there, and that was so many years ago. And I know the whole situation, he was supposed to be the Indianapolis coach, and then he turned it down and went back to New England to be an offensive coordinator. But a lot of Raiders fans be like, oh, give them the benefit of the doubt of, just he had one bad year last year, from us going to the playoffs and being 6-10 last year. But it has to reverse. It has to reverse. I don't want to go any lower than 6 games. I need at least 10 games. If we get 10 games, and it's possible that we don't make the playoffs because of how the seeding will work and how everything will work, I am satisfied with that. If we could get in at 10-7, I'm happy with that too. But I want it to be consistent. I don't want to be 1 year we go to the playoffs and then we're back to mediocrity the next 5 years. It has to be a consistent basis for this. If you see the last 6 years of the the Golden Knights, they've been in so many playoff games. They've been to the Stanley Cup before. They've been to the Western Conference Finals. They've been in the playoffs almost every single year. That's consistency. And then when the Las Vegas Aces came, you saw the coaching that they even had before they had Becky Hammond going to the playoffs, but they could not get over that hump until they brought in Becky Hammond. And the consistency is still there of winning. So if you need to, if the Raiders need to see that, you have to, the players like Max Crosby and these veterans, they have to look at it like, listen, we're the third team in this city. It's time for us to turn this around. Josh McDaniels have to be saying the same thing. You got to turn this around. If you don't turn this around, these fans is going to turn on you. And I am one of them. I will turn on the Las Vegas Raiders if they don't turn this around. I would talk bad about them until the end of time, until they don't turn it around. Because last year it was a terrible year. It was his first year. Everybody said give it Josh McDaniels a chance. Okay, we're gonna give him a chance this year, but it's definitely 6 games or more, or he's out of here. I'm sorry, he's out of here. If he got to give us 6 games, he got to give us more than 6 games this season. But at the same time, these players got to execute too, because coaches can just be coaches. Because even though coaches tells what they need to do, if the players don't go out and execute, then they got to go too. Everybody got to go full sweep like the Nuggets did the Lakers. Full sweep. Get the brooms out for everybody. So the city of Las Vegas is oh, go ahead.
No, I mean I completely agree with you. Like this is a complete step up. Like, and you're right. The coaches, the roster, everybody needs to step their game up. Like, yeah, your division isn't easy. Okay, no, all right, great. But the whole simple fact is, right? It doesn't matter who you're playing if you play team ball. If you play your game, like the old saying goes, any given Sunday.
Right.
So that's the whole thing. Like I mean, I necessarily wouldn't say that off of one head coaching job. Like okay, McDaniel's is complete trash. He could never be a head coach. No, because a lot of them guys, it's a huge learning curve to be. You instruct the offense. You run the offensive class. You know what I mean? Like you do that stuff as an offensive coordinator. You set your playbook. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's a lot easier versus being responsible for the entire team, being responsible for the offense and defense, being responsible for every position player. Like, it's a lot that
Absolutely
goes
agreed.
into being a head coach. You have to bring your own mantra in. You have to set the tempo of the locker room. Like you have to be a leader in so many aspects. That yeah, the first time somebody gets thrown into the fire like that, again, working with Belichick, I feel like he really underestimated how much work was going to go into it, and that's why it was a shit show in Denver. But on top of that, okay, you have to look at all the good things that happened. He learned a lot of lessons the hard way the first time, which is
Right.
absolutely great.
You're cutting out, brother. You're
Oh,
cutting out.
we just got a message in the group. Yeah,
Oh, I'll check it.
yeah, yeah. I can't see it. My service is horrible out here. I'm right
Oh,
next to
so
the DWI airport.
it says that sports betting is now legal in North Carolina. They just signed a House bill of 347 into the law, which legalized sports betting across the state. And he was saying that he's in North Carolina, so y'all might not understand how big this is actually. So, yeah, so sports betting has officially been in the state of North Carolina, so now you can bet in the state of North Carolina. Hopefully, they can do it for California, because I have a lot of people in California that's so mad that they can't bet. They're so mad they can't bet. But at the end of the day, Las Vegas Raiders, I hope you take this as motivation. I hope you take this as inspiration. Players, coaches, everybody that's in that building, knowing that, you know, training camp is coming up. It's time. There's time to try to compete in this league. It's time to compete and stop being a mediocrity that we have been for so many years, even though we have some years that we did have good seasons, but it always turned out for the bad. And next season, we always, you know, fell flat on our faces. So just let's hope this wake y'all up, man. I really hope this thing with the Aces winning the championship, the Golden Knights winning the championship, this should put a fire under y'all asses. Because it ain't no excuse this year. I do not care if it's Josh McDaniel's second year. It's no excuse. No excuse at all.
No, I mean, for sure. Like you said, I mean, the biggest thing is going to be, like, who's his quarterback? Is Garoppolo going to be healthy in time?
Well, as of right now, they did say that Garoppolo will be ready for training camp. So that's a good start. But they did say Aiden O'Connell, our rookie, has been getting the first team snaps. Him and Brian Hoyer have been switching, but they said Aiden O'Connell has been standing out more than Brian Hoyer. So I mean, the fact that he's even getting first team snaps, that's even good, even though Jimmy Garoppolo's out and Jimmy Garoppolo's going to be the starter, but he's going to be here for training camp. I think he's going to start week 1.
Okay.
So shout out to Michael. What's going on, OG? What's going on? Chad, what's going on here? But I wanted to throw that out there before we got into any NBA talk, because the Stanley Cup was dominant by the Las Vegas Golden Knights, beating the Florida Panthers 9-3 and beating them in 5 games 4-1. And the Golden Knights came out swinging. The Golden Knights came out swinging. I actually was able to finally watch a Stanley Cup final, and I actually watched all 3 periods of it. I've been to Flyers games and stuff like that. I know the game. I know how the game is played. I just butcher names. That's why I never do play-by-play for Flyers, because I don't want to butcher names. But when it comes to me doing names, Mac, I'm telling you, it is not great with me. That's why I don't do it. But shout out to the Golden Knights. They played well. Stone had a hell of a game. I think he had like 3 goals, if I'm not mistaken. But they already, in the second period, they was already up like 4-1 in the second period.
Yeah.
And then they just, when it came to that, I think the end of the third period, the end of the second period, it was like 5-1, and then they just kept scoring in the third. It was just pure dominance. Even though the Panthers tried to come back, the Las Vegas Golden Knights was not losing that game on their home ice. They just was not doing it. So shout out to them. Shout out to them, and shout out to my boy Jake of the Snake Sports Talk Show. I have to say that because he's a big Las Vegas Golden Knights fan, and me and him don't see eye to eye because he's a Chargers fan. But when it comes to the Las Vegas Golden Knights, he's been a big supporter of them. And shout out to him. Know that he lives in Las Vegas, and his hockey team actually won the Stanley Cup title. Did you get a chance to watch it last night, bro?
So I watched the first quarter of it, and then I kind of went to sleep.
I mean, kind of day that you had, I can understand.
I'm honestly, like most mornings, I'm up at 5 a.m. So when it gets to 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, like
I'm going to bed.
I'm sitting on the couch just watching something. Next thing you know, I pass out. Wake up, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I go upstairs to my bed.
You watching something? Did you start watching something on the couch? Did the TV start watching you because you went to sleep, basically?
Exactly.
So let's get into some NBA talks. I did want to talk. I wanted to get that Las Vegas thing out the way. I wanted to get that off my chest before we go back into the NFL. But I want to get some NBA stuff off. I want to pick your brain with this one here. The Golden State Warriors. And the reason why I wanted to pick your brain with this one, because if Draymond Green opts out of his contract, can the Golden State Warriors win a title without Draymond Green?
Yes.
And explain why. Explain your answer.
So here's my whole thing: is yes, Draymond is a great team player for the Warriors, absolutely. But now you're getting to the point to where his offensive production, and I'm talking points here,
Mm-hmm.
not assists, okay, it is lacking, and it's been lacking. And as far as if you look at the guys you could go get for the same price, you're looking at guys who can score and defend. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
whether you want to stay the same size or whether you want to actually go get a big man. Like this year, there is a lot of centers, power forwards, and big small forwards that are out there that can play in that system.
Yeah.
So where Draymond is great for that team, but Draymond Green is not the end all be all for that team. Steph Curry is, and you know what I mean, and they have Klay Thompson. So it's just rotating the pieces. So yeah, I mean that's literally like saying Draymond Green is the most crucial part of that Warriors team, and he's not. He is a crucial part, but he's not the most crucial part. And yes, I mean I feel like if they reloaded their team and got it to where Steve Kerr can again continue to play, Warriors basketball. Oh my God, sky's the freaking limit. I'm never going to put a limitation on them. As long as Steph Curry can shoot, and as long as Steve Kerr is the coach, I have absolute confidence that they can definitely get to the playoffs. Now, what they do once they get into the playoffs, that really determines on the personnel that's actually playing, not injured. You know what I mean? All that good stuff comes into it.
I'm
But
gonna say
yeah, no,
no.
even without Green, it's still a playoff caliber team.
I'm gonna say no. I don't think they contend. I don't think they contend without Draymond Green. And the reason why I say that because yes, I understand his points is all his points always been lacking since he became a Golden State Warrior coming out of the draft. And I just feel like his energy, the way he pushed the ball in up tempo situations, and the way that he orchestrates on the floor offensively, that it don't really have to have him score, but he put people in the right places to make quality shots. If you look at for what he does, even though he's undersized, he still brings his aggressiveness under the paint. I think he brings his style of play reminds me of the early 90s. I mean the 90s and the early 2000s in some ways. Yes, I understand Draymond Green, they consider him a dirty player in some sorts. He does some dirty shit. I get it. I absolutely get it. But I feel like he orchestrates so well. Just imagine not having Draymond Green and Steph Curry moving out the basketball. Who's a better passer on that team that could get Steph Curry the ball without moving when he's moving without the ball? Draymond Green was one of those guys that could give him the ball in wide open situations. So I think they will lose a big piece with Draymond Green walking and going into free agency. And the thing about it is, what type of player would you replace a Draymond Green with? That's another thing too. I don't think that Golden State can win without a big man facilitator. I don't think they can. Looney is not that. Kevon Looney is not that. You see, they got rid of Wiseman. So who can you replace right now that's in free agency can do what Draymond Green did? I don't know what just literally just happened to Mac, but I'm gonna finish this segment here, and hopefully that his internet comes off to be really good. But I'm gonna say this: who can you tell me in free agency right now that can replace Draymond Green? That's my issue with that, because I feel like if he goes out in free agency and he goes to another team, that's an upgrade for another team, and that's a loss for the Golden State Warriors. So, and I think Draymond Green facilitating wise and him motivating his guys, I think that will be lost with the Golden State Warriors. Michael said the problem with Golden State is their salary cap too heavy with salaries. The bench is crucial. Well, with the whole Jordan Poole thing, Draymond Green, the Jordan Poole situation he had. So that was my thing here. I'm waiting on. Okay, there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
I was like, what happened here? I'm like, what happened here? So Michael said they need to bring qualities to the team that would be a part of that culture. They're going to have to go mid-level way to sustain. And as of right now, Draymond Green is mid-level, and you are freezing up, my brother. You are freezing up badly. I can't even see you moving. So, but I just don't see, or just turn your camera off, and just talk, Mac, if you can do that.
yeah, that's fine. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Absolutely, I can still hear you. But basically, that's how I see it. Is that Draymond Green? I don't see nobody replacing him as of right now. That's in free agency as of right now. So that's my only issue with him walking. I think they lose some qualities in him. And like Michael said, that their salary cap is messed up with the Jordan Poole contract. And can him and Jordan Poole coexist? That's another big thing too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so that's the whole thing. Is I mean, could you imagine the Warriors trading Jordan Poole to the Suns for Aiden and possibly picks?
Do you think DeAndre Ayton would fit what the Golden State Warriors want out of a big man? Do you think he can really replace a Draymond Green as far as like aggressiveness? Because we all know that he was soft, and DeAndre Ayton was soft in these series. He was soft.
Yeah, I mean, but again, you're also, like I said, you're taking Poole out, you're trading for Aiden, and like I said, I mean, it's a possibility you go get a guy, and I mean, like I said, I don't have the list of NBA free agents on hand, but I believe we touched on a lot of them, and like a guy like T.J. Warren, I feel like would bring a lot of that prowess to the Warriors. And like I said, I'm just using him as an example, but like no, he wouldn't replace Draymond Green, but you could replace Draymond Green with two guys.
Yeah, it's not too many people that you can replace him with. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing is like you have to find somebody who can help facilitate, and then you also need a big man. So you know what I mean. Like I said, I mean it depends on what game Steve Kerr wants to play. You know, and that's really what it's all about. But like I said, if Draymond goes somewhere else, where does he fit on another team?
That's true too. That's true too. But I mean, it really depends on what teams are looking for in free agency and what they need in free agency. Or what they could do is that he could opt out that contract and get a different contract, or a smaller contract to stay with the Golden State Warriors. If he wants to win another championship, he could get out of the contract that he is in now and decline that option, and then renegotiate a new contract that make the salary cap a little bit much lesser, so they could go out and shop in free agency and go get people. That's an option in itself.
Right. I got time for one more quick topic, and then I got to go.
All right, so one more quick topic. So I'm gonna definitely get to the nitty gritty of that topic as well. So I'm gonna skip over NBA real quick and go into your top 10 WWE finishers of all time. So these are the top 10 that I found according to Fox News, because I know we talk about wrestling a lot here. I don't know if you want to cam up for this real quick and see if it works, but I want to yeah, for some reason you're still freezing up. I don't know why you're doing that. Any other time, you'll be good for some reason. You'll be good for some reason. I don't understand. But let's get into the top 10 WWE finishers of all time. So number 10, they have Spear by Edge, the Sharpshooter number 9 by Bret Hart, the F5 by Brock Lesnar, Attitude Adjustment John Cena at number 7. So right now you have 10 Spear, that's Edge. Number 9, Sharpshooter by Bret Hart. Number 8, F5 by Brock Lesnar. Number 7, Attitude Adjustment by John Cena. Number 6, Pedigree by Triple H. Number 5, Sweet Chin Music by Shawn Michaels. Number 4, RKO by Randy Orton. Number 3, Rock Bottom by The Rock. 2, Tombstone by The Undertaker. And 1, Stone Cold Stunner of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I'm sorry, I'm taking the Rock Bottom off of there. The Rock Bottom, I'm sorry, that's one of the weaker finishers, right? And if you want to talk about it, like the one finisher that I'm pissed off, that I was sitting here waiting for you to read, Ric Flair Figure 4. That was a staple. That was a freaking staple in wrestling. He had guys tap on that like Dusty Rhodes. You know what I mean? Like, for the Figure 4 not to be on there is one of the signature finishers, especially because of how big Ric Flair has been in the industry. It's a little upsetting.
So you will trade the Rock Bottom for the Figure 4 leg lock?
Yes. Ric
for
Flair,
me,
which is actually funny because The Rock used the Figure 4 in multiple times.
I think everybody does, though. I think all the wrestlers does use the Figure 4 leg lock. And, Charlotte Flair does it to a higher extent because she puts a bridge on it now for, because that's his daughter. But for me, I feel like
I wouldn't necessarily place the Figure 4 that high, but
you'll put it on the list.
Yeah, I would, like I said, I would switch those two out, and I'd probably drop down the list a little more. I think the pedigree should be upgraded a few more slots. Absolutely.
I'm kind of. People fail to realize this. The Sweet Chin Music was so accurate with Shawn Michaels. I understand they water it down so much in today's WWE, but when Shawn Michaels was doing it, he hit every single body with that Sweet Chin Music exactly on the goddamn chin. We're not going to put him at number 5 and put RKO at 4. We're just not going to do that.
Yeah, I would go Stunner, Pedigree, Sweet Chin Music.
So mine would be Stunner, Tombstone, Sweet Chin Music, and Pedigree. That's my 5. That's my 5. Then 6, I will put the Sharpshooter at 6. I will put.
All right, I gotta go.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
Tomorrow, same time,
same place. See you in a little bit, brother. See you in a little bit. We'll talk more offline. But going back to it, and going back to it, and I wanna throw this my personal list on here, and I'm gonna say this list over for y'all. I'm gonna say this over because I wanted to get through some topics because of Mac. But top 10 WWE finishers of all time. And this is according to Chat GPT and Fox. So the top 10, you have Edge, number 10 with the spear. Number 9, Sharpshooter by Bret Hart. Number 5, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar as the F5. 7, Attitude Adjustment by John Cena. 6, Pedigree by Triple H. Number 5, Sweet Chin Music by Shawn Michaels. Number 4, RKO. Number 3, the Rock Bottom. Number 2, the Tombstone. And number 1, the Stone Cold Stunner. So for me, this is how I would have my list here. Because the list leaves off Razor Edge. That's true. Which it should be capital punishment. I agree, RC covers. I absolutely agree there. But this would be how my list. I will have this list, in my opinion. Stone Cold Stunner remains at number 1. We know why. Tombstone number 2 stays at number 2. Now 3, 4, 5 can be definitely moved around. I'm not a big fan of the Rock Bottom being a top 10 finishing move because he had other finishing moves outside of the Rock Bottom. He had the people's elbow that was more electrifying than the actual Rock Bottom. It's a simple move, and I felt like when it comes to the Rock Bottom, you can put a different finishing move, like Max said, with the Figure 4 leg lock. I think you could definitely put that on there. You could, and the Sharpshooter, I feel like it's too low at number 9. So this is how I would put it. Stone Cold Stunner at number 1. Tombstone at number 2. I will put Sweet Chin Music at number 3. I will put the Pedigree at 4. As I would say, I'll put the Pedigree at 4, and I'll put, and you know what? I will put, that's tough. See, it's tough now. So Stone Cold 1, Stone Cold Stunner 1, Tombstone 2, Sweet Chin Music 3, Pedigree 4, and you know what? I'll have to throw the Sharpshooter in there at 5. I'll have to throw the Sharpshooter in there at 5 That would be my top 5. And then number 6 would be attitude adjustment. Number 7 will be, if we have to move, I'll put the rock bottom at 7. I'll put the F5. I'll keep the F5 at 8. No, you know what? I'll put the F5 at 8. Put the spear at 9. And 10. You know what? Rock bottom has to be number 10 here. Rock bottom has to be number 10. Some way, somehow. Oh, no, you know what? I'm wrong again. I'm gonna do this again for y'all. RKO would be number 6. RKO would be number 6. Attitude adjustment would be number 7. Rock F5 would be still at number 8. Spear would be at number 9, and rock bottom would be at 10. That would be mine. That would be mine altogether. The attitude adjustment is definitely close, but the attitude adjustment will stay where it's clearly at. But I don't understand. There's a lot of finishing moves out there that you could put on this list, though. You know, you could put the Frost Splash, the original Frost Splash by Eddie Guerrero on there. You could definitely throw that on there. You could throw the 619 by Rey Mysterio on there. You could put a lot of things on this list. The DDT by Diamond Dallas Page. That's another one that you could throw on there. The Scorpion Death Drop. You could put that on there. You could put a few finishers on there that's been so good. The choke slam by the Undertaker. You could throw that on there. It's so many ways. Goldberg's spear is a little better than Edge's. This list is bugging out. I don't know about that one. I mean, Goldberg did it to a more impact, but he didn't spear a lot of people like the Edge did. Edge speared a lot more people than Goldberg did. And you got to look at the matches between Goldberg and Edge. Goldberg was spearing a bunch of nobodies at one point. Edge was doing this against top quality wrestlers. So I get what you're saying, because the impact that Goldberg had being undefeated in WCW, but I feel like the impact that Edge had doing the spear against top quality wrestlers and doing it on a bigger stage, that's true too. But Triple H had 2 finishers. What was the other one? It was the pedigree, and it was I don't know what the other one was. I didn't think he had 2 finishers. I thought the pedigree was his main finisher that he beat everybody with, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, Stone Cold, this is the finishers that we have here. You know, Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is the Stone Cold Stunner. So these are the top 10 that they have. But Stunner, Tombstone, Rock Bottom, RKO, Sweet Chin Music rounds out the top 5. And then you have pedigree, attitude adjustment, F5, sharpshooter, and the spear by Edge. So I'm gonna definitely post this list on my Instagram, post this list on my Twitter, and post this list on my Facebook and see what the people have to say. I love to see what the people have to say here. So I'm gonna definitely go back into that later on, ladies and gentlemen. But I do want to get back into the NBA and crossover before we finish up this show here. So, no-brainer trades for the NBA for 2024 NBA title contenders. So what happens here is this, and I'm gonna throw these headphones because I'm tired of hearing what I need to hear on this side. So I'm gonna put these headphones in because I definitely need to hear myself in some way, some sort. But NBA championship contenders should leave, nothing to chance, in my personal opinion. Now, we have teams that can trade and get some players to get them back to being in championship contention. So we got 4 teams here that could build, balance and depth when it comes to these teams. And this first team is the rumors is stirred about the potential Zion trade. Yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, but I want to get into this potential trades as first. So the Golden State Warriors, they need to build balance and depth, which I said that first. And they saying to this is that the Golden State Warriors should receive Terry Rozier and Cody Martin, and the Charlotte Hornets get Jordan Poole. Now, what it does say here is this, that when the Golden State Warriors went down 6 games to the Los Angeles Lakers in the conference semifinals, they looked like they were simply running out of gas. They couldn't find consistent offensive production from the players other than Stephen Curry, and it showed. While the clear 120 points in each of the last 2 victories, they averaged 102 points in their 4 defeats in the playoffs. Jordan Poole, who inked $123 million extension in October, helped to provide a non-Curry creation and came up empty in his search for support scoring. He only managed 8.3 points in his 20.5 minutes per night in shooting a woeful of 34.5% overall and 25% from the three. Now, with this situation here, Terry Rozier is a good shooter, but he definitely fell off the face of the earth after he left Boston. I'm gonna be completely honest. He definitely left off the face of the earth when he left Boston. But going into a situation with the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr's on the final year of his contract, we don't know what's going to happen with Draymond Green. This is a possible trade. They might eat the salary cap because of Jordan Poole's contract, but you're getting a Cody Martin that's been very solid for the Charlotte Hornets, and Terry Rozier, he's been very solid for them as well. If you look at the numbers for Terry Rozier, I would do that trade in a heartbeat. And RC covers, we said that at the same time, bro. We will do that trade in a heartbeat. Rozier is a professional. He deserves a win again, and he focus on focus hooping guard who could go somewhere where he could shoot aimlessly and trick his money. LOL. I agree 100%. And I think the Golden State Warriors should go out and go do this trade because I feel like Terry Rozier still got a lot left in the tank. And I still feel like Cody Martin is a rising star, knowing that he saw his brother Caleb Martin take a leap this year with the Miami Heat. So for me, I feel like personally that Golden State should definitely go out and go get those two guys in this trade. So the next trade that we have here, Bruce Brown is a must stay in Denver. Hey, I think he is a must stay in Denver. I definitely agree with you there, Duka Ivan. I definitely agree with you there. The next one is Boston Celtics found a floor general. So let's see this. Boston Celtics received Chris Paul, and the Phoenix Suns will get Marcus Smart and Grant Williams in a sign and trade. So this is pretty interesting here. The Boston Celtics will get Chris Paul, and the Phoenix Suns will receive Marcus Smart and Grant Williams. Now, you do add a defense and a little bit of offense there with bringing in Marcus Smart to the Phoenix Suns. Reminds you of a little bit of a Mikal Bridges, but we all know Mikal Bridges is a better shooter. We all know that. So it does say here that the Boston Celtics have a boatload of talent, tremendously depth, and quite possibly the association's best roster on paper. But what they don't always have, though, is a sense of purpose on the offensive end. And I'm going to have to say this. Boston is missing a point guard. Boston has been missing a point guard for a couple years now. And they need a pure point guard so Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum does not have to bring the ball up every single time. Yeah, you got a Michael Brogdon that comes off the bench, but he's not a starter for this Boston Celtics team. He's just not. So for me, the Boston Celtics would be a good fit for Chris Paul. And I think that Grant Williams and Marcus Smart would be good for the Phoenix Suns. But I understand you're breaking up a core. You're breaking up a core because Smart is a starter with the Boston Celtics. You're breaking up that core. But something's going to have to change if Boston wants to get back to the NBA Finals. You're going to need a point guard. You're going to need a floor general. And for me, I think Chris Paul is the right spot for him to be a floor general, even though they got him connected to the Los Angeles Lakers, probably going back to the Clippers. But I don't trust the Clippers in that instance. So for me, I say this. I say that Boston Celtics in need of a guard, you're going to have to take some risk to go get your guard. You're going to have to take some risk to go get your point guard. Because even though, I understand the Boston Celtics the year before last, they went to the finals and they lost to the Golden State Warriors. I get that. But I still feel like for me, I think Chris Paul fits with the Boston Celtics. Defensively, it's going to hurt Boston because Marcus Smart is the energetic and put his body on the line and put his I don't know. I just know it's just something about it's an it factor for Marcus Smart when it comes to that Boston Celtics team. So our key cover says, I don't know. I'm thinking about that for Boston. It's not good long-term trade with CP3 injury history, which I was getting into that. I think Phoenix will win that trade, although Marcus Smart isn't a point guard and Booker for KD either. That's true. So now that means would you add Cameron Payne to the starting lineup and you put him in that situation to be a floor general? It's a lot of questions that need to be asked there in that situation. But Boston better try to make plays for Van Vliet or the Phoenix Suns. Either one could go for Van Vliet as well. But I'm not talking about the Denver Nuggets right now. We talked about them so many times yesterday. If you would have been here, you would have saw it. The next one that they have here is the Los Angeles Lakers as size, shooting, and playmaking. So it says that the Los Angeles Lakers will receive Miles Turner and TJ McConnell, and the Indiana Pacers will get Malik Beasley, Mo Bamba, Max Christie, and a number 19 overall pick. I don't know about this one. I don't know. I mean, Miles Turner does add size to the Lakers, and he could definitely be a backup for Anthony Davis, but Miles Turner's a starter in this league. So I don't know how this will work because Miles Turner is a starter for the Indiana Pacers. I get it. TJ McConnell does bring in some backup help, but TJ McConnell he's a scorer when he needs to. I remember him when he was on the Philadelphia 76ers. He's a scorer when you need to. He's a true point guard, pass first, shoot second type of point guard. But I don't know how you add shooting here. I mean, TJ McConnell is an okay shooter, but when you want to add size, I like that. But I don't think you want to give up Malik Beasley or Mo Bamba and Max Christie. You give up 3 players. You give up 3 players in a pick for a Miles Turner and a TJ McConnell. I think you have to add more players to that Lakers part to lose all of that for me. So Miles Turner does add depth to their big man, but I'm kind of nervous because Miles Turner is a starter. Do you think you want to come to the Lakers and be on the bench? I don't think he wants to do that. I just don't see that happening. So I'm kind of okay with this trade, but I think the Lakers gave up too much to go get 2 guys from Indiana. I think it's too much. Malik Beasley, Mo Bamba, Max Christie, and a 19th overall pick. So that's 4 pieces going to Indiana for only 2 Lakers getting back in return. I'm not a big fan of this trade at all. I'm not. And RC Cover says, Hop, I'm not a Pacers fan. Nah, the Lakers not about just rob us like that. I mean, Mo Bamba can't stay healthy. And Max Christie, he too young. The Lakers will have to give us Rui in that 17th pick. Ooh, see? I disagree with this. I disagree with that trade too. Trade too. But the last but not least, this is a big one here. This is a 3-team trade at this spot. So the New York Knicks, the LA Clippers, and the Portland Trailblazers. So this would be the trade here. And this is a big trade, so make sure y'all pay attention. The New York Knicks will receive Paul George. The LA Clippers will receive Damian Lillard. And the Portland Trailblazers will receive RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Jericho Sims, Evan Fournier, a 2025 first-round pick of the top 4 protected from Milwaukee in the New York Knicks. Then a 2027 first-round pick via New York Knicks. And a 2029 first-round pick via New York. So let me say this again. The New York Knicks will receive Paul George. The LA Clippers would get Damian Lillard. The Portland Trailblazers will receive RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Jericho Sims, Evan Fournier, a 2025 first-round pick that's a top 4 protected of Milwaukee via New York Knicks, a 2027 first-round pick via New York Knicks, a 2029 first-round pick via New York Knicks. I don't think you want to break up that New York Knicks team for a Paul George that can't stay healthy. That's what I don't get in that situation. Why would the Knicks trade for a guy that could barely play 50 games in the NBA? I'm sorry. I'm not trading for a Paul George. I'm just not. If I'm the New York Knicks owner or GM, I'm not doing that. I like the RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin and stuff of that nature. That sounds, I just don't like the trade for Paul George. I don't mind Damian Lillard going to the Clippers, But I think he won't work in the Clippers. I just think he won't work with him and Russell Westbrook being a 1 and 2 guard, and they both like to be shoot happy. I don't think that works. And then Kawhi Leonard, Mr. Low Management himself, we don't know what we're getting out of Kawhi Leonard these days. He's hurt, and then he's healthy. He's hurt, then he's healthy. I think New York is giving up too much for a Paul George. That's too much. Because really, Portland will win this trade. Let's be honest. Portland will win this trade. They will. To me, the Knicks would lose out on a lot of players. So Paul George would definitely be a cancer for the New York Knicks. The Clippers, I just don't think it will work with Damian Lillard and Russell Westbrook. I just don't think it will work. We don't know what we got with Kawhi Leonard. And Clippers got to make some more roster moves to try to compete in this West. I don't think that will work. But Portland will win the trade in a heartbeat. Look at the players again. They're getting an Obi Toppin that's really young that could come off the bench. You had an RJ Barrett that played really well, played off and on, but he was really well in these playoffs overall. Evan Fournier, he don't even get no time with the New York Knicks. And I know that he can shoot the basketball. He don't even get no time with the Knicks. Jericho Sims, not a big fan of. But look at the picks. 2025 first round pick. 2027 first round pick. 2029 first round pick. It's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of moving parts. But Portland will definitely win this trade. Hands down, they will win this trade. So I would not trade for Paul George. That's one thing I don't like about this trade. Dude, the New York Knicks, I'm telling you right now, do not trade for Paul George. He will not play for y'all. He'll give you like 20 games, 20 to 29 to probably 30 games out of an 82 game season. Because he stay hurt 90% of the time. It's a fact. It's a known fact. So if I'm the New York Knicks, do not go after Paul George. Don't do it. That's not going to get you over the hump. That's not going to help Jalen Brunson when the best ability is availability. And Paul George is not that. Paul George ain't available. So why would you trade for a guy that's never available? That doesn't make any sense to me. So speaking of Damian Lillard, speaking of that, I don't know what Portland wants to do with Damian Lillard. I don't know what Portland wants to do with them. Do with Damian Lillard, because I'm getting tired of everything being talked about. You know, I just don't know with Damian Lillard in this whole situation. I don't get it. And they say they think about not trading him before the NBA draft. Like, I hate this whole thing here. I just hate this whole scenario. It has been talked about for years. But the question is it really going to happen? And it's really kind of pissing me off, because it should piss Damian Lillard off too. I'm tired of trade talks. Trade me or don't trade me. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. So according to ESPN, they had bad news for fans and teams during the dreaming about Damian Lillard looking for an opportunity to leave the Portland Trail Blazers this summer. Now, this is what according to ESPN is saying. Now, appearing that ESPN Get Up, that Windhorst said that indications out of Portland that Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers are still all in together, quote unquote, leading up to the 2023 NBA draft and to start a free agency. Now, it does say in quote unquote that what Windhorst would say that indications that they have out of the Portland Trail Blazers are that they still are in together. The moves that the Blazers are looking to make involve building around Damian Lillard, and he obviously put him on edge a little bit of what he said at the conclusion of the season, which is that he didn't look for any more developmental players, and he wanted players that could help him win right now. And they're actually got a fascinating when they jumped up to the number 3 overall pick, which is why a lot of people think the number 3 overall pick could play by next Thursday's draft. But they have no indications that the Blazers are doing anything with Dame, or Dame is pushing in that direction. I'm I'm very confused about what the hell the Portland Trailblazers is going to do. I'm very confused, man. And I gotta take these headphones off because I'm getting hot. I'm getting hot in here because it's starting to get real in here. It's starting to get real in here. So when it comes to the Portland Trailblazers, right? You're going to trade them or not? Damian Lillard, do you want to be traded or not? Because now you're playing with the fans' head of, oh, you're still all in together, but you still have the number 3 overall pick, and you don't know what you're going to do with Damian Lillard. The madness has to stop. I'm tired of a topic every single day mentioning Damian Lillard. I'm sick of it. I'm completely sick of hearing about Damian Lillard and what team can he go to. And we just talked about it in the last segment with potential trades that can make somebody a championship contender and Damian Lillard going to the Clippers, which that's not going to work in LA. I tend to think that without Damian Lillard, Portland is scared they can't sell tickets. They're only team in there. They're the only town in there. That's true. Besides the University of Oregon, of course, University of Oregon had their college sports. If you look at it from that aspect, they have Oregon football, they have Oregon basketball, they have their University of Oregon sports outside of that's not professional. So these front offices don't know what they're doing, especially when it comes to the Portland Trailblazers. If you want to trade Damian Lillard, just trade him. There's so many teams that want Damian Lillard right now. Just trade him. But now you're getting to a point where they're saying that they're all in together. And then before you saying that, oh, we have the number 3 overall pick. And you're talking about trading out the number 3 overall pick because you want to find players that want to win right now. And I think Damian don't want to be a part of another developing year. He doesn't want to be a part of that. He wants to bring in pieces right now that could get him back to the Western Conference Finals or get them back to the playoffs and compete. The question is, who wants to come to Portland? That's another question you want to talk about. Who wants to play in Portland with Dame? That's a whole nother question in itself, because if you look at the city, who wants to come there and how much they're willing to come there for to play with Damian Lillard. So it's a lot of stuff that has to go down for Damian Lillard to get what he wants. And if Damian Lillard don't want to prepare for the future, just ship him out. Just ship him out. And I was about to get to that, RC covers. I was about to get to that. Chauncey Billups deserves to know what is going on. And they definitely giving that man a headache. They're giving Chauncey Billups a headache about, am I going to keep my star point guard or not? How do I move? How do we move forward after this situation? Is Dame going to stay here or he's not? As a head coach, I'll be frustrated right now. I'll be completely frustrated with the Trailblazers organization as a head coach, because you're not telling me what players is going to stay. And I'm tired of hearing about Damian Lillard, and I got to tell reports and talk to reporters and stuff of that nature and talk to people and get interviewed about this whole thing. I know he's tired of it. Because if I was a coach, I'll be tired of it too. I'll be done with it. Jared Vanderbilt for MVP. Oh my God, Mitch. I can't stand you, brother. I can't stand him. Shout out to Mitch and the Hardcore Sports Network, man. Shout out to them over there, man. RIP to Jeffrey Turner. Shout out to all the success that's going on over there at the Hardcore Sports Network, man. Mitch, I'm just saying, I just have to give you your flowers, bro, because you became a co-founder. You became a co-founder of the Hardcore Sports Network, and you took the knowledge that I was able to teach you from the Spotlight Sports Network, and you turned it into a great network over on Hardcore Sports Network, man. So, Mitch, I definitely have to give you your flowers, bro, and much appreciated. I definitely got to have you come on the show and talk about the Philadelphia 76ers in their future. So we definitely got to talk behind the scenes and see if we can get you on the Darion Hopkins show and talk about the Philadelphia 76ers in their future. I couldn't be no coach. I would have been throwing the playbook, clipboard, and all of that. Quick little story though, RC Covers. Quick little story. When I coached kids over in Deptford, New Jersey, Key in the building can tell you this story. I actually got a technical foul for throwing a clipboard. I actually got a technical foul, with five. I was coaching six to eight. I think, or it was. I think it was sixth graders, seventh graders. I was coaching, or fourth and fifth grade. I don't know. I don't remember. But Key in the Building can tell you this story. If Key in the Building ever goes live, ask her about what happened with D throwing a clipboard in the basketball game, because Key was my assistant coach at that time. So just a quick story about that. I got a technical foul. I threw a clipboard down because the ref was terrible with the call. So I mean, I'm just saying it was another story there. But as far as the Damian Lillard thing go, I need Chauncey Billups, to try to do his best. I don't know why my nose is itchy, but Damian Lillard, he has to figure out if he really wants to demand a trade and what the Portland Trailblazers is going to do if he demands a trade. And when it comes down to the NBA, I mean, NBA teams just going to have to sit and wait, but they're going to have to move forward with their process of what players that they want on their team and not sit around and wait for a Damian Lillard. Simple as that. Simple as that, because it's getting to a point where it's starting to piss the fans off. It's starting to piss the players off that's a part of the Portland Trailblazers, and it's pissing off the NBA teams too, because they want to try to go after Damian Lillard, but it's a lot of uncertainty there. It's a lot of uncertainty there. So we can move on. We can move on real quick. So he cares about his guys. Exactly. He definitely cares about his guys over there in Oklahoma City. So we talked about the Warriors. We talked about the potential trades. We talked about Damian Lillard. We talked about the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the stature of the city of Las Vegas. We talked about that. We talked about the Las Vegas Raiders. Who would be the most improved quarterback this season? Because we're going over to the last two topics of the NFL, and this show is going to be actually done. There's not really too many topics out there. When it came to it, I didn't want to talk about the Stephon Diggs situation because I didn't have no indication of information on the Stephon Diggs, being out of minicamp. But I heard that he was coming back. That's another story for another time. But who would be the most improved quarterback this season? Now, when you say most improved, are we going with younger guys, or are we going with guys that's trying to bounce back from last year? Because for me, I like to go with the younger guys than actually go with older guys that need to bounce back, in my opinion. So for me, who will be the most improved quarterback? Is a few names that I could throw out there that I would like to see to be most improved. One is Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder for the Atlanta Falcons. I think Desmond Ridder is one of those guys that they put weapons around him with Kyle Pitts, Drake London. They got Bijan Robinson out of Texas, and they trying to build a defense for Desmond Ridder over there in Atlanta. So I could definitely see him being a very most improved player at the quarterback position. I think Desmond Ridder could definitely take over the NFC South if he can. There's going to be a lot of competition there, especially with all brand new quarterbacks for the NFC South. Bryce Young being a part of the Carolina Panthers, Derek Carr being a part of the Saints, Baker Mayfield being a part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But for me, I think if you want to look at that division, I think Desmond Ridder is the guy that could definitely take a leap in being better and being improved. And now I was going to get into, see, RC Covers is thinking how I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? He's thinking how I'm thinking. Justin Fields. I was going with that next. I was going with Justin Fields next because Justin Fields is another one that got weapons now. I understand they lost David Montgomery, their running back, but you went out and got DJ Moore. DJ Moore is one of the best receivers in this league when he was with Carolina. You want to get DJ Moore. You still got Chase Claypool. You got Cole Kmet. And then now you still got Darnell Mooney coming back. So he has weapons, and now his offensive line has to protect for him. That's my only concern about Justin Fields. He's going to have to use his legs a lot if that offensive line does not block for him. But Justin Fields is another one that I think would be a most improved quarterback. For me, yeah, I definitely could think so. I definitely think so. Another one I'm gonna throw out there as a honorable mention. And hopefully this happens because we all know San Francisco has a quarterback controversy going on right now when it comes to Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. But if Trey Lance can stay 100% healthy and Brock Purdy, it really depends on what happened in training camp. But if Trey Lance can be most improved without getting hurt, you could kind of put Trey Lance in that conversation. But there's a lot of uncertainty with Trey Lance because they say that he's 100% healthy, but it's going to be quarterback competition between Brock Purdy. Even I don't know why I'm saying Sam Darnold's name because I still think he's a scrub. But it's going to be competition between Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, and Sam Darnold. It's going to be that, and we're going to find out who's the number one quarterback is. If is Brock Purdy healthy, I'll go with him. But if Trey Lance healthy, you go with him. So it's really going to be a quarterback competition in there. But I'll have to go with Trey Lance if he is the starter. Another person I want to throw out there that I want to see improve this year, and I think he can't go any lower, and that's Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson is one of those guys that have to improve when you got one of the best coaches to ever do this in Sean Payton. You can't go any lower. If you're Russell Wilson, you can't go any lower. It's time for you to step up and be that quarterback that you're supposed to be. When it comes to Russell Wilson, he had a terrible year. Terrible year. The defense held up for them. I'm not gonna lie, that defense side of the ball for the Denver Broncos is solid, which I'm kind of nervous about. But hey, it's my Raiders. I'm gonna trust my Raiders. I'm gonna trust them to the core. But Russell Wilson got to play better when you got the Jerry Jeudy's. You don't have Noah Fant anymore though, but you got Jerry Jeudy. You got Courtland Sutton. You have those guys, man. Those guys. So for me, Russell Wilson got to be another most improved player as well. But there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that probably be most improved. You need Baker Mayfield to be most improved. You need a little bit of Jared Goff to be better this year. Derek Carr, can he improve knowing that he's been with 9 years with the Las Vegas Raiders? Is Dak Prescott. I think Trevor Lawrence don't need to improve. I just think he needs to elevate when it comes to improve. I think he solidified his spot last year. Sorry, I had to take some water, but I think Trevor Lawrence just needs to elevate his game. I don't think he needs to improve. Jared Goff wasn't bad last year, but I think he needs to take that. I think, like I said, he's right there on the borderline, but he needs to elevate. I think if Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence want to keep the Jaguars relevant in the NFL, they both have to elevate their game. They have to get more stats, less turnovers, and they have to elevate their game. Now, Dak Prescott, he has to improve every year. Let's just be honest. But he definitely has to improve. Dak Prescott is one of those quarterbacks that have to improve. He has to, because Dak Prescott having 15 interceptions last year was terrible. Was terrible. The Lions' future is definitely in there with Jared Goff, but I like they got Hitting Hooker in the draft just in case if Goff doesn't get it done. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence, I just think he definitely needs to improve, but he needs to elevate the game to let them know that they are the kings of the AFC South. Same thing up now for the Detroit Lions with Jared Goff. They got to let me know they're the kings of the NFC North now. So they just got to elevate their game now, knowing that their divisions are pretty weak. Jordan Love is another one that you want to throw out there that could be improved. I know we only saw a few flashes of him during preseason and stuff of that nature, but I still like those guys. I still like Desmond Ridder. I still like Justin Fields. I still like Russell Wilson to improve, but Dak Prescott is up there. Trevor Lawrence is up there. Jared Goff is up there. It's a lot of quarterbacks that need improvement. Definitely need improvement here. So I do like the fact that these quarterbacks is looking to improve, and I really hope they do improve with the new weapons that they have. But last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, let me get to this topic real quick. We all talked about the holding outs in the NFL. We talked about it so much of so many players are holding out. And I'm pretty nervous about big potential NFL holdouts going into training camp. So do we panic or we don't panic? That's what this segment is going to be. Panic or don't panic for NFL stars in 2023 training camp holding out. Now we have 9 players that's possibly going to hold out for their prospective teams to get a new contract or get a trade or do whatever on that one. So the first one that they have on board is Budda Baker for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Budda Baker did report to the Arizona Cardinals mandatory mini camps, but his presence doesn't seem that he would show up on the first day of training camp. So, but mind you, it's more than just running backs that's on this holdout list. So Budda Baker is one of the best safeties in the NFL. Best safeties in the NFL. And according to Adam Schefter, Baker wants to become the highest paid safety or change the scenery of how safeties get paid. Now, based on the recent production, if you want to look at Budda Baker, the guy had a good year. He's one of the best league safeties if you look at it. In 2019, he led the NFL in total tackles with 104. In 2019, he recorded 7 interceptions over the last 3 seasons, and he has earned a consecutive Pro Bowl nods with All-Pro recognition in 2020. So, with that being said, for me, Budda Baker plays the position that's on a low premium scale. That's just a fact. It's just a known fact. So, between the offense and the defense positions, safety is the 3rd lowest non-exclusive franchise and transitional tag values in the total dollar amount. So the beginning of this rebuild with Arizona, I think it's time for Budda Baker to move on. It's time for Budda Baker to move on, and I think they need to trade him. I think he needs to go somewhere that he can win right now, because Arizona's not going to win right now. They're just not. The next one, we're just talking about running backs, Arku. The next one, Saquon Barkley. I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to be at training camp. I just don't think so. Because according to, Jordan Rodman of the New York Giants, they say the New York Giants offer up to $14 million per year on a new deal with incentives, according to NewJerseys.com, Bob Brookover. But the 2-time Pro Bowler running back rejected those offers. So for me, Saquon Barkley, how much are you asking for if they offer you up to $14 million per year? I don't think you're going to get more than $14 million. That's just being realistic there. If the Giants offered you $14 million per year, it has to be the years is the reason why you're rejecting it. It got to be the years. So, Barkley spoke publicly about it. And he said his contract buzz called it rumored details misleading, according to what he said, that he pushed back on the notion of the desire to reset the running back market. Moreover, Barkley didn't rule out the possibility of sitting out the entire 2023 season, which he's on what Le'Veon Bell did in 2018. You do not want to go that route, Saquon Barkley. I just think you don't want to go that route. I can't see you going that route. Number 3, Nick Bosa. This is a different one here. Nick Bosa is possibly going to be holding out. So it says, according to the Athletic David Lombardi, that they wrote that the San Francisco 49ers negotiation process with Nick Bosa seemed to be business as usual. Now, according to Lombardi, Bosa didn't take part in the 49ers veteran minicamp last week, but he was in the team's weight room, and which is a good sign for both sides heading into the summer. Now, coming off of a stellar league-leading 18.5 sacks in 2022 Defensive Player of the Year honor, Bosa would likely to reset the non-quarterback market with a massive contract because of the deal likely to top TJ Watt's 4-year, $112 million, which is $80 million guaranteed contract. Bosa must exercise the patience while his agent does the heavy lifting of negotiations. Nonetheless, the 49ers would eventually hammer out the deal with the most valuable defensive playmaker. Now, either the club or Bosa or his agent has suggested the possibility on a holdout, but he makes the list simply because the possibility of weight and a long-scale contract. What's going on, Snowman Multimedia? What's going on? Nick Bosa is a surprising one. I didn't know he was acting for another contract. And I think the 49ers will get that done for him with the productivity of Nick Bosa, even though, yes, he does have a lot of Nick injuries, but he still puts up numbers, 18.5 sacks this past season. 18.5 sacks. The guy is good. The guy is great. And I hate talking about the 49ers because I'm a Raiders fan for life, but I can't disrespect talent. I can't disrespect talent. Nick Bosa deserves the money that he's going to be getting to him. And I think he's going to try to reset the scale the way TJ Watt's money is going to be. So Nick Bosa wanting a new contract and possibly holding out, interesting one there. Very interesting one. We all know about Danielle Hunter in the Minnesota Vikings. He does not like his contract. And the Minnesota Vikings, he's going to hold out. Minnesota Vikings better get their contracts together because a lot of players is leaving now. You just got rid of Dalvin Cook. So you want to talk about that. And last year, the Minnesota Vikings defense allowed the 5th most points and the 2nd most yards in the league. And they was terrible last year. Very terrible. And they cannot afford to lose a 3-time Pro Bowler, Danielle Hunter, who recorded 4 double-digit sack seasons in the 7 years with the team. Now, according to NFL Network Tom Pelissero, it does say that Hunter will skip the Vikings' mandatory minicamp practices because the two sides have not seen eye to eye on a new contract. Now, Hunter may find it difficult to pay the raise with the current regime with Kowalski Ofoda Messiah, who took over the Vikings general manager position in 2022. Now, this offseason, the Vikings have cut and traded yet veterans walking free agency and reshaped their defensive edge to Darius Smith, linebacker Eric Kendricks, defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson, cornerback Patrick Peterson, and play for new teams all in 2023. Still performing at a high level in his prime, Hunter falls into a different category, though. So Ian Rappaport does inquire that teams have looked to inquire Hunter for his availability. Even though Hunter and the Vikings went through a mandatory minicamp as a constructual odds, Minnesota needs their best pass rusher to hold on to the NFC North title. Danielle Hunter is gone, y'all. He wants to be out. I don't think he's going to be there for training camp. I think he's going to be there. The guy, double-digit sacks in the last 4 out of the 7 seasons that he was there. The guy is productive. He wants to win. And he doesn't want to be with a team that keep winning. I mean, even though y'all won the NFC, North title last year, but he don't want to be on a terrible defense every single year that he has to do it majority on his own. Sounds like Max Crosby to me, but that's another story for another time. And it goes down to number 5, my Las Vegas Raiders running back, Josh Jacobs. So Josh Jacobs, he's been vocal, but has not been much vocal as Saquon Barkley about his contract situation in Las Vegas, even though we did see a cryptic tweet that suggests to focus on the biggest picture at the running back position. And it quotes and says, "Sometimes it's not about you. We got to do it for the ones after us." I don't know what that actually is supposed to mean, but I get it. You want to do it for your future. You want to do it for your legacy in that part. But someone responded to the tweet and suggested that Jacobs sign that tag, get to work, and replied. He replied to the fan saying, Jacobs may let his absence or lack of participation at training camp speak volumes this summer. Now, general manager Dave Ziegler and the head coach Josh McDaniels haven't shared any significant progress in negotiations with Jacobs since the team tried a franchise tag him, which made why the Raiders running back may be ambitious or ambiguous comment on Twitter. Now, we all know what Josh Jacobs' numbers, right? We all know his numbers. He won the rushing title in 2022, racking up 1,653 yards and 12 touchdowns on the ground, and he was the rank 12 offense in yards scoring at the top of his game and should play hardball with the Raiders for a new deal. Now, yet Jacobs goes into this summer with a tough spot because the running back market is plummeted this season. Now, if you look at it from Miles Sanders, that's out at $6.4 million with the Carolina Panthers. The Vikings cut 4-time All-Pro Dalvin Cook, and they may settle the contract franchise less than a $10.1 million franchise tag for running backs. So, as I see it, is that the Raiders definitely have to come to terms with Jacobs some way, somehow by July 17th. Because if not, he's going to miss out on training camp. And I don't want him to miss out on training camp. That's just me. I don't want him to miss out on training camp. We got Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs, wants to hold out. He wants to get a new contract. Chris Jones' desire to become at least the league's second highest paid defensive tackle. Keep in mind, the Los Angeles Rams just restructured Aaron Donald's contract last June as the highest paid player at the position at $31.7 million on his new deal. So they said on Tuesday that Jones skipped out on the Kansas City Chiefs mandatory mini camps. According to Adam Schefter, NFL insiders also noted that the team willing to sign a star defensive tackle extension this summer. So coming off his first All-Pro campaign with 15.5 sacks, 46 pressures, and 17 tackles for loss, Jones can make his reported aspirations come true and earn a big pay raise. But according to Adam Schefter, sources are correct. The Chiefs may be willing to accommodate Jones' salary demands. At the minimum, it would be a top of Tennessee Titans defensive end Jeffrey Simmons of a 4-year, $94 million contract that's $66 million guaranteed. So even though you had your first All-Pro nod, I want to know how much money is Chris Jones asking for. That's another thing. What is Chris Jones asking for when it comes to this? So hopefully he gets his contract. But we have Devin White up here. We have Christian Wilkins on here from the Miami Dolphins. And we got Quentin Williams that we talked about as well that wants a new contract. So there are 9 players that want new contracts before the training camp. And that's Quentin Williams of the New York Jets, Christian Wilkins, DT from the Miami Dolphins. You have Devin White, linebacker from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You have Chris Jones, defensive tackle of the Kansas City Chiefs. You have Josh Jacobs, running back for the Las Vegas Raiders. You have Danielle Hunter, defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings. You have Nick Bosa, defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers. And you have Saquon Barkley for the New York Giants, and you have Budda Baker for the Arizona Cardinals. So they're all looking for new contracts or possible trades or sitting out the whole season. You just never know with people. You just never know. But there you have it, guys. There you have it. We got through all the topics today on the Darion Hopkins Show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and engaging with me on the Darion Hopkins Show, man. I really do appreciate my co-host, Mac, coming in early and talking some sports with me and getting some topics out there really quickly. But thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Darion Hopkins Show. And we'll see y'all same time, same place. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to the channel on the YouTube channel, which is the Darion Hopkins Show. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at DHopkinsShow. Make sure you go to SeatGeek.com and use the promo code DHopkins and get $20 off your first purchase if you want to go any sporting event, live event, or anything of that nature. And make sure you go to Bet Us if you are into sports betting. We have a link in the description to get you 125% of your sports book upon your initial deposit. So make sure you go to the link in the description for that. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Darion Hopkins Show. Same time, same place tomorrow for Thursday, June 15th. I will not be doing no play-by-plays tonight either, but I will have some uploads for y'all because I have a recording gig that I have to do outside of this. So unfortunately, I will not be in the building for a play-by-play and reactions tonight. But thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Darion Hopkins Show. I really do appreciate the love and the support that I've been getting. And let's get the 3K, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure y'all comment, like, and subscribe. And follow us. I'm sorry. Really quickly, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio is the audio podcast for the Darion Hopkins Show. Make sure y'all follow us on the audio podcast platforms as well. Thank y'all so much, man, and I'm out of here. Peace.